Hi. Thank you. Well, I'm Diane Bolte Silverman, if you don't know who I am, and I'm president of this wonderful board of directors, and it's been a joy to be part of our whole organization of Noah's Ark, and I'm very happy to welcome all of you to the grand opening of our beautiful new shelter building. All of the board members and volunteers and staff have worked very hard to make Noah's Ark successful and to get this shelter built. And this is a state-of-the-art facility. If you've been on tour, you've probably heard some of the things that we've done. And if you haven't, we will have people here to explain them to you afterwards, after our ceremony. But at this time, I'd just like to introduce our staff members because they do work really hard in taking care of our animals and keeping our shelter going. And so the first one is Angie McGee, and if you could just stand up when I mention your name, you guys. There you are. Angie is a vet tech, and she takes care of all of the medical care for our animals and is in charge of all of our cats, and it kind of oversees what's going on here on a day-to-day basis at our shelter. Bobby Hulteen handles all of our dogs. Thank you, Bobby. We have Monica Welcher and Shayla Bowes who take care of, thank you. And Monica and Shayla take care of our animals on the weekends and then on call when they're needed. Lark Dunham is not here, but she is she is a high school student who just graduated, and she's worked part-time walking the dogs and on weekends and as needed. And I think she's coming back from Disney World today, so she couldn't be with us. But she's been wonderful also. And then Mike, are you here? Mike Boulos is our caretaker, and he's the lucky guy who gets to live up here and watch over our animals and take care of security for us. Mike also walks dogs in the evenings. I'd like to thank you all for being so dedicated to the health and happiness of our cats and dogs. And Angie, thank you so much in particular for working through heat, snow, rain, cold, everything in between in the past years. You did a great job. And it now gives me very great pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremonies, David Sykes. David is a co-founder of Noah's Ark, and he supported the shelter for many, many years by doing everything from paying the bills to animal care to spearheading changes in state cruelty and in legislation. David is our guiding light. You are our inspiration, and this wonderful shelter and organization would not exist without you. So David, thank you so much from all of us.
Thank you very much, Diane, and welcome all of you today. It is a great honor, very special moment to share this this whole day with you. I'd like to briefly welcome our special guests. We have Ed Malloy, our mayor, Reverend Tom Miller from the Liberal Catholic Church, Jim and Helen Guy, who I'll be introducing shortly, helping build the building. Our state representative, John Whitaker, thank you so much for coming. Rick Swain, a senior vice president from the Humane Society of the United States, is also here. And Tom Colvin, the president of the Iowa Federation of Humane Societies and the executive director of the Animal Rescue League in Des Moines, is also here to share with us. I think I was on the way over here this morning, and I had written this nice presentation. I realized that today is really a day about speaking from your heart. It's not really a day that you can read a speech that you wrote. And I think the theme of today, if we had to summarize what this day means, it's a moment to celebrate a miracle. This building and all that you see is certainly a miracle that's been in the process of happening for the last so many years, and it's a very great honor to be associated with what's happening today and all that will happen in the future as a result of the tremendous commitment by people that we'll be honoring as our presentation goes on. So specifically, I'd like to welcome all of the Noah's Ark donors that are here with us today that have made a lot of this possible, our volunteers, staff, the veterinary professionals that we work with all the time, members of local law enforcement and local government, citizens of Fairfield and Jefferson County, friends that have come from around the state to share with us today, and the local and national media that have come to cover this event. And I'd also like to welcome all of the canine friends and feline friends that are with us in spirit all over this facility. Welcome to all. To anyone that I missed simply in the enthusiasm today, please forgive me, but there's just so many that have done so much. So just know in our hearts we're thinking of all of you today. I'd like to start off today by taking a moment and introducing Reverend Tom Miller to say a few words and to lead us in perhaps a moment of prayer and thanksgiving. Tom has been with Noah's Ark since 1997 and helped in many, many ways, as has the Liberal Catholic Church. So Tom, would you please come up and share with us?
Good morning. I think I will start with a short prayer. Almighty and merciful God, whose care and loving kindness are over all the creation, breathe forth into us thy spirit of compassion and tenderness towards all creatures thou hast made, and in whom thou art the indwelling life. Teach us, O God, to look upon our younger brothers and sisters, the animals, as a trust from thee, that the day may be hastened when men shall neither hurt nor destroy in all thy holy mountain. Amen. And there's a beautiful statue here everyone's been seeing. It's a gift from the Moore family, Bob and Holly and Mira. And it's pretty common knowledge that St. Francis, among his many other specialties, was someone who connected with animals and recognized them as younger brothers and sisters. You know, all cultures of the world, if you look into them, have an understanding that there are the human beings, of course, but above us in the creation stands the realm of what we call angels. And every culture has this memory, that God has messengers of a different order in the creation, and maybe they have light bodies or wings or not, or, you know, the story about what they look like is various. But we are understood to be their younger brothers and sisters in the creation. And the traditions also have it that they look after us and care for us. In our Western culture, we have the knowledge of guardian angels that are maybe even assigned at birth or in baptism or something like that. And however your background recognizes it, it's a universal view in human nature. And in the same way that we hope for the angels to be benign to us and look out for us and have God's will in mind as they deal with the human beings, so too we stand as elder brothers and sisters to the animal kingdom. And I know I'm as they say, I'm preaching to the choir here. Because this isn't an assembly of people who love and care for animals. But I'm just pointing out that this is, there's another saying, as above, so below. And so, as it is in the heavenly realm, we also want to reflect to the worldly, earthly realm, where these beautiful creatures that we love and who love us and give us comfort and companionship, it's a sacred trust. And so it's very appropriate that a shelter like this is built and stands as a sanctuary for those animals in need. So it's a beautiful thing. So another theme of someone like Francis of Assisi, and you also, is connection. Connection to the creation and to your fellow men and women, but also these beautiful creatures, these animals, cats and dogs and all other kinds of animals. The theme is really connection. And that's not just something that humans do that's nice. It's actually witness to the truth. That everything in creation is connected. It has one author. And that divine author who wrote this beautiful story of the existence of creation, well, we can't really expect to understand everything in that author's mind. We see love, and we see difficulty. And I think in our role as human beings, it's not so much what presents itself to us, the circumstances, the difficulties, even things that appear and maybe are evil. We'll leave out the analysis of that. But things come that are not welcome, they're not something we were looking for. Circumstances force themselves in on us. And we're not judged by the circumstances that come to us. Maybe we're not even judged by what we do. But what we experience in life depends in great deal on how we respond. And so there was a great tragedy those years ago when the Noah's Ark experienced its crisis and its tragedy. But what's happened ever since has been something transformative. I'm certain that all the volunteers here, even those who weren't involved back in those days, have been experiencing something of a transition in their lives and their relationships just by virtue of being involved in what's been going on here. Does anybody relate to that? I'm just guessing here, but you don't do something this meaningful and this wonderful without God's hand reaching in and making the connection both to the creation and back to God more strong. And so there's a theme I'm going to wind up on here with a beautiful story, or just a statement from a woman named Molly Fumia about just exactly this theme: out of difficulty, triumph; out of death, resurrection. And this is not in any religious sense particularly, or in any particular religion. It's just the idea that where things go to pieces, by faithfulness, by openness, and through connection, they turn around quite wonderfully, as has happened here. Resurrection. The reversal of what was thought to be absolute. The turning of midnight into dawn. Hatred into love. Dying into living anew. If we look more closely into life, we will find that resurrection is more than hope. It is our experience. The return to life from death is something that we understand in our innermost depths, something we feel on the surface of our tender skin. We have come back to life not only when we start to shake off a shroud of sorrow that has bound us, but when we begin to live, when we begin to believe in all that is still endlessly possible. We give thanks for all those times we have arisen from the depths. All those times we have arisen from the depths, or simply taken a tiny step towards something new. May we be empowered by extraordinary second chances. And as we enter the world anew, let us turn the tides of despair into endless waves of hope. I think that the beautiful miracle that we're celebrating today, that came out of something that was already good, this beautiful shelter even years ago, and then had a tragedy, and then something even greater came out of it, is not only beautiful in the context of this animal shelter in this community, but this knack of the divine, this ability, this potential to take tragedy and turn it into triumph, take something that seems to be utter destruction and find the miracle in it through connection and working together and applying our love. This shelter is a symbol of what is needed desperately throughout the rest of the world. And so everyone here, everyone connected with it, is doing their part for what you love here. But it has a much larger meaning and a much larger effect. And it's a very real effect. So bless you all in all that you've done and all you will do here, and all who've contributed in whatever way, and everyone who carries the work of this shelter in their hearts and in their prayers for now and all times to come. I'm very, very appreciative to be associated with David and everyone and all of you, and have a beautiful celebration today. Thank you.
I'd like to just share a brief story about Reverend Tom Miller. Today is a day of celebration, but there was this time in 1997 when this tragedy happened, and I was there, and I called out for help, and I called my dear friend Joe Seehusen, who most of you know, and Joe was at the Liberal Catholic Church having a breakfast with Tom and maybe 10 men. And I just left a message that I needed help, and they left all the food on the table. They jumped in their cars and they came to Noah's Ark and stayed there the entire afternoon during that very challenging day. And they showed me what love and charity mean. So it's an honor that you're here today, Tom. Thank you for representing all of the church. I'd like to, it's an honor. It's a huge honor. I'd like to talk to you for a moment about two very special women. Two women that have made this day possible. First is Miss Catherine Glann of Baltimore, Maryland, whose private foundation has made this building possible. Miss Kitty, as she is affectionately known to us, passed on recently. And her private foundation basically made this entire project possible, and Noah's Ark operational activities year to year has helped support those, our needs. I know that she's probably watching us today from her heavenly abode, and I think this is truly the fulfillment of Miss Kitty's life, to know that the monies that she left are going to help so many thousands of animals. We'll be doing a ceremony in a few moments honoring her. The building is being named for her. You'll see her picture in the lobby, this beautiful lady in her 90s, just full of life and just so thrilled with what's happened here. In the last few years, the board would send Miss Kitty letters and pictures, and a very special relationship was developed. And our second dear friend, sitting in the front row, is Helen Guy, here with her husband Jim. And Helen has been the inspiration for this whole program. It turns out that she is a family friend of my family and knew me as I was growing up, and as fates would have it, she and Jim came here on a employment situation, totally unrelated, and we met, and I told her the story about Noah's Ark. And if you know Helen, she's a lady that walks the walk. And she got involved, and there we go. She got involved and introduced Noah's Ark to Miss Kitty. Helen is the executor of Miss Kitty's estate and also handled all of her finances. And it was through Helen's vision and commitment and incredible support that this building has been made possible. So, Helen, I think we're at that time where if you would honor us and come up, we're going to actually have just a couple moments to do a formal ribbon cutting ceremony. You'll see a temporary sign that is honoring Miss Kitty, naming this beautiful building for her and her picture. This will last indefinitely, for time immemorial. This structure and the work that's being done here will be here to honor her and all of you. So Helen, if you'll come up, and then after this ribbon cutting, Helen, maybe you'll share a few words with us.
moment that we've all been waiting for. And we now open this building. When she was 96 years old. So as you can see, this was a few years before that time. But it's done, the work is absolutely magnificent, and it captures so much of what was in Kitty. She was feisty, she was wonderful, a marvelous woman, and I want you all to meet Miss Kitty.
Karen Jost. Karen spent literally hundreds of hours creating this painting out of love and devotion, and thank you so much, Karen. Would you come share a few words with us?
Oh, I certainly will. Thank you, David. Thank you. So much of what has been said is so true of the life of Kitty and what happened out of tragedy and what got Kitty and I together and what got me here. Unfortunately, Kitty was an only child, and her husband died several years ago. Her parents were gone, and she never had children herself. And an unscrupulous accountant did the most unthinkable thing. He stole most of her money. She called me. We had been friends for many years, and she called me to help her. At the time, she didn't even realize he had stolen all of her money, and she had just about enough left that she would be able to live well no matter what. So she would not prosecute him because she said that God will take care of him. She was not going to make sure that he died in prison and that she would have to live with it. Then, like David said, my husband was offered a position here, and we came here, and I knew that David was here because his mother and I were friends, and I looked for David for a year. You spoke of Joe C. Hughes, and I introduced myself to him and told him I was looking for David, and for a year I kept asking, "Where is David?" Nobody could find David, and finally one day David called up and said, "I understand you're stalking me. Who are you?" So I said, "Well," I said, "I'm just a friend, and I'd like to see you. I'd like to meet you. I'm a stranger in town." And I met David, and David told me the story of Noah's Ark and the tragedy. Kitty's wishes were always to take care of animals. That was her great wish. The accountant, unfortunately, had made a will that left everything to him, but we got rid of that. And we set up the foundation to help animals. Now, when David told me about the story, we started giving some money to help Noah's Ark, and then he told me about the building. And I went to Kitty and I said, "Kitty, we ought to build this building for them, and your name will go on forever. And this will be something that we will support forever. The foundation is going to support it. We need your help too. Don't get the wrong idea. We still need your help. But there is going to be money that this building will be here, and everything that goes along with it will be here." And I am just so thrilled, and Kitty passed away in July. She knew about the building. She knew it was being built, and David and everyone wrote to her. Unfortunately, she didn't see the end of it, at least not from this angle, right? So I know Kitty's up there, and I know that she's a part of this and will always be, and I thank you all, and thank you for coming and helping support it.
Thank you, Helen. I'd like to take a moment now and honor some very special people. I'd like to honor all the volunteers that work here every day, the staff and donors whose tireless commitment make it possible for us to carry on our work. All of the volunteers and staff, would you please stand up for a moment and allow us to honor you? Don't be shy. Thank you so much. Some of the things that they do that you may not be aware of, just as a short list. These folks help administer the CC SNAP program that Carol Klein sponsored that helps with neutering in Spain of dogs and cats and helps with assistance in that area. They dog walkers. Some of the folks here visit nursing homes with Noah's Ark animals, helping the elderly. Others socialize dogs and the cats. They work on newsletters, special events, adoption bulletin boards, maintaining our website, adoption programs, and just so many other things that are all volunteers. So thank you all from the bottom of my heart, all of our hearts. I hope you'll continue your work, and I hope others of you today may be inspired in some way to help. We'd love to talk to you. It is also now a moment of tremendous joy. I'd like to honor two people, and I apologize in advance for embarrassing them, but you have to give me a moment. I'd like to honor Ken and Joy Simmons, if you both stand for just a moment. These two people are absolutely angels. There was a time several years ago when Noah's Ark needed to move from its old location, and a decision was made, and we had to move. And so Ken and Joyce, who have a beautiful farm north of town on Highway 1, converted a very significant portion of their facilities there to house all of the Noah's Ark dogs. And Ken got out with his equipment and his bulldozer and his tractors, and he made kennels and runs, and absolutely, you've never met people like this. Absolutely unbelievable. And for several years, all of the Noah's Ark dogs and the puppies and the feeding and adoptions all took place at their home. And so we will honor you forever. We thank you very much. And let's give them another hand. I am very honored to say that there's a plaque in the shelter with both of your names that is hanging in a very place of honor to just recognize the very special gift that you gave us all. Thank you. This is the part where I didn't want to write too much. I wanted to share for just a minute what this moment means to me. I remember in 1985 when Noah's Ark began in my home. And my former wife and I began rescuing animals. I remember in 1989 when we got our first facility that many of you visited. I remember 1997, the year that we had the terrible tragedy that we've talked about today. And I don't want to dwell on it because it's a day of moving forward and it's a day of celebrating a miracle. But it was a very challenging time, and it affected me, it affected everyone involved with Noah's Ark, our community, the state, nationwide, even worldwide. People heard about what happened here. And in reflecting on it, as Reverend Tom mentioned, we went on from there. And Tom Colvin, my dear friend, is going to share some other details with you in a moment. But we went on to speak to the state legislature. And we went on to talk about where we go from here. And over a 2 or 3 year period, Noah's Ark had the honor of working with the Humane Society of the United States and the Animal Rescue League and the Iowa Federation of Humane Societies, and we lobbied our government to increase the laws for animal cruelty, to make them, instead of misdemeanors, to make them felonies. And it was in this process that I learned a lot myself, because I ended up speaking around the country. There is a link, a documented link, that anyone that would commit violence against an animal statistically will go on in their career to commit violence against people. And usually the most vulnerable, the children, women, the elderly, those that may not be in a position to defend themselves. And so it became clear that as we have more attention with stronger laws to put focus on people that would do something like this, we're actually protecting ourselves and our families and our communities. And as Iowa focused on this issue and took this seriously, other states around the country began to also pass animal cruelty laws with more teeth and made animal cruelty a felony. Noah's Ark was a very key state. And so that has come from those difficult days. For me, being here today and remembering all of the animals that have come through Noah's Ark's gates, literally the hundreds, if not thousands, of little dogs and cats that otherwise would have been on the streets, sick, hungry, not allowed to live, that have found homes, many with you here today and with those around the state. It is truly an incredible process, and underlying all of the activities, the volunteer work, the dog walking, the feeding, the rescuing, there's a heart. There's a heart that's called Noah's Ark. And I think this building and all that it represents is, in a sense, honoring that essence of what this foundation is and how it started. So that's what this means to me. I thank you for allowing me that moment to share that with you. Now I'd like to introduce some very, very special people. One person who needs no introduction from us is Mayor Ed Malloy, who for years was a city councilman and now the mayor of our community, and is leading Fairfield in many beautiful new projects to bring more prosperity and more beauty to our community. Ed, thank you for coming today, and would you please share a few words with us?
Thank you very much. I want to extend first a welcome to our distinguished guests from out of town and the media. I'm glad we've had a wonderful day to really enjoy this in the atmosphere that we really should. This is a wonderful day to celebrate. And it's an honor for me to be mayor of this community on a day like today, because what's been accomplished by this group of extraordinary people is something that any community would be deeply, deeply proud of. And what makes it even more special for me is that many of these key organizers and benefactors are dear, dear friends. And I really salute you, I congratulate you, and I honor you for what you've accomplished on behalf of all of us, and particularly the animals of our community. This event marks a proud and important moment for our community because it really symbolizes the sustainability of something that we have all admired for a great time. This organization, Noah's Ark, has worked quietly, has worked diligently, has worked effectively in our community, and provided a tremendous service for so long that we owe them a debt of gratitude just for that. Now, with this shelter, we know that there is a sustainability to what you've accomplished, and we know that this is going to be with us for a long, long time. Communities really foster and cherish any of those wonderful elements that really represent sustainability, and this accomplishment today is something that, again, we will be talking about for a long, long time. We are a community of treasures, really, fostered by the most creative and committed people. You all symbolize that creative commitment in this particular area, in this particular field, and as a representative of this community, I get the opportunity to talk about the best things that we enjoy here. And there are so many of them. There are so many community treasures. And now this one is another one that I will be able to add to that, and I will represent very, very proudly. The vision and the leadership that this group and this organization and all of these individuals have shown has inspired our whole community, and we celebrate that today. It's also been my privilege to know David since 1985, when Noah's Ark was in his backyard, and to see him move through these different stages, and to each step of the way bring on another, incredibly committed individual like Carol and her husband Larry, or like Helen Guy, or like Diane Bolte Silverman, and so many of the wonderful, wonderful volunteers, to see this organization gain that kind of momentum, to see the symbols of its influence throughout our community, where we have radio commercials advertising pet adoptions and posters in all of our most visible spots that are so orderly and well taken care of, to know that this is very, very effective. Also, to meet people from other parts of the state who say, oh, you're from Fairfield, I adopted an animal from Fairfield. And it's just remarkable, the impact and the influence that you have all had here. It's been a privilege to watch it grow. The commitment of this group of people has really been astounding. And from a local government perspective, we thank you, because we've been under pressure, both our city and county budgets, for many, many years. We've lost 7 full-time employees across many of our departments over the last just 3 years. So for us to be able to fund and take on something like this on behalf of the citizens of the community was virtually impossible. Yet you politely accepted that no from us many times and went on about your business anyway, and we supported you in any way that we can, and we will continue to do that, and we really thank you for understanding that and continuing undeterred. Noah's Ark, and on that note, following Helen's comments as well, I encourage everyone to continue to support this in every way that you possibly can. The volunteers are very, very important. We have an incredible group of volunteers within our community. We accomplish so much through that. And in doing so, I know that many of you have found the perfect area to focus your community volunteerism. I challenge you to continue that, to teach young people to grow in that volunteer spirit and to employ their volunteerism here at Noah's Ark, and also those who have the means to continue to support this wonderful, wonderful effort on our community financially. This will be a continuing tool for our community to teach our young people to care and to love and to grow in those values that are so important that we want them to understand. So I congratulate the board again on your accomplishment. It's admired by all of us. You have done our community very proud and a great service, and you've united us again in a way that we are very proud of and will cherish for a long time to come. Thank you very much for the invitation today.
Just for a moment, I'd like the Noah's Ark board to please come forward just for a moment, all of you, wherever you are. And Diane, will you please come up and introduce the board to our guest today? She's coming. I see her.
One's inside. And Janet Larson is inside.
Well, we'll mention Janet's name. But come introduce everybody, Diane.
Mike, I'm sorry. Kind of casual here. Well, Michael Moore is on our board. I'll just name names. Carol Klein, David Sykes, me, Diane Bolte Silverman, Karen Jost, Monica Mathias, and Janet Mullen, and then Janet Larson is inside.
Working,
yeah. So that's
If I haven't made this clear, let me make this clear. The people other than myself are the ones that are doing the vast majority of the work. I've never worked with people like this. Diane and Janet and Carol and Karen and Michael, and I mean, you've never worked with a group like this. I want you to know there's a big red star coming. These are incredible people, and it's an honor to serve with them. I thank you all so much. And to my right, I have a very special lady who's going to speak to us, and again, a little story to share with you. Carol and her husband, Larry Klein, who Larry's in California and cannot be with us today.
He's actually on that camera, and everybody should just turn to that camera.
Oh, he's on that camera.
Hi, Larry.
We hope we embarrassed you a little bit.
He's watching on the remote camera system.
There's a 12 unit security system that Larry installed as part of the building process that can be monitored remotely. So he's in California watching us on the security system. That's a message for people that this is a very secure facility. In any event, Larry and Carol, as this wonderful gift from Helen and Miss Kitty became more clear, stepped forward, and they built this physical facility with literally with their hands, their bare hands. Larry was the lead builder. He was the builder, and he brought the team together, and he labored 7 days a week, 18-hour days, for months and months, and I've never seen such dedication and hard work. And it was absolutely amazing. And the people that worked with him, Carol is going to be talking about. I'd like to also mention briefly who Carol also mentioned, Michael Borden, the architect, and so many people that just gave of themselves. Michael, where are you? Carol and Larry both made me promise not to make too big a fuss of them, but I did have my fingers crossed. It was an absolute honor to work with them. The day in, day out work that ensued here. Carol, in a sense, became the business manager, negotiating all of the contracts and all of the supplies and budgets, and just unbelievable, coordinating everything. And we will honor the two of them forever. Larry, if you're watching, you better be watching at home right now. We love you and we thank you so much for what you've done. And again, as you go through the shelter later, you'll see a beautiful plaque honoring these two very special people. So it is now my very great privilege to introduce Carol to you, who I would like to tell you a little bit about. Carol, as many of you know, is the co-author of the New York Times best-selling books, Chicken Soup for the Pet Lover's Soul, Chicken Soup for the Cat and Dog Lover's Soul, and Chicken Soup for the Mother's Soul. I mean, you know, it's all right there, you know. She's, as you have seen, a member of the Noah's Ark Board. Carol also founded what we call CCSNAP, C-C-S-N-A-P. It's the neuter spay program that she funded with a lot of her own money, and others have now donated to it, that help people in need spay and neuter their pets, which is a great thing for our community, and she led us in that regard. I'd like Carol to please come forward and speak a little bit about the building and the people and how this whole thing actually came to be. Carol.
I'm going to make it very brief. When I called my husband Larry yesterday, I said, honey, I feel like an imposter. You did all the work. He said, but you made me. So I guess I get some credit. The thing about this building, and everybody says it when they go through, is there's so much thought that went into this building. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I do want to invite you, if you haven't already gone on a tour, there are so many special features that went in to the mix. We wanted to make this shelter, first and foremost, a state-of-the-art shelter that would make animals comfortable, volunteers happy to work here, staff happy to work here, and adopters happy to visit and take home their pets. The other part, in that end, we did a lot of special things with heating and air conditioning and ventilation. People come to the shelter, we wanted them to have a good experience. So we made it so it was a pleasant place to come. At the same time, doing that, making the animals as comfortable as they can be, making the shelters pleasant to visit, can cost a lot of money and energy. And so we did a very unique thing. We said it's not enough to make a state-of-the-art shelter. We want to make a state-of-the-art shelter that is ecologically friendly, that doesn't take more resources than we can afford, that we should step lightly on the earth, that our mission of kindness and loving care for animals should extend to the planet as well. So you see in front of you, you can tell it's kind of a basic structure. We painted it barn red in keeping with the Iowa theme of rural shelter. And it's not fancy on the outside. It's beautiful. We love it. Our landscaping, our statue donated by local supporters. Everything about it, of course, is well done. But there are so many details that make it absolutely unique in the field of animal sheltering. So I highly, I just invite you warmly, if you haven't gone on a tour, we will have stations set up after this gathering is finished, which will be very soon. For those of you standing, I'm really sorry, we didn't think we'd have such a turnout. It's very lovely to see you all. Please come, walk through, and someone will tell you about the features. I want to just finish by mentioning that this was a tremendous group effort, and it wouldn't be complete. Larry worked very hard. I worked very hard. But there was a group of men. I have to say, there weren't a lot of women workers. So, okay, it was just men, guys, all right? There was a lot of people who worked very hard, and I wanted to just very briefly, if there's any of them here, we have one, Christian Wolfbrandt. There was Jim Busker, and God, now I'm going to go blank. Sid Slaughter, is he here? Yeah. Sid, please stand up. Brian McDonald and his crew were incredible with the HVAC. Is one of the most complicated HVAC systems that he'd ever put together, because it has so many different needs. Brian McDonald needs to be honored. Judy Krieg, is he here? No, he didn't make it. Judy Krieg from Earthview Environmental, please stand. There was a time when this building wasn't going to be done because we couldn't figure out our septic system. We're one of the only shelters that I know of, there's maybe 2 in the state, that run on a septic rather than a city sewer. And with the kind of water usage that we have, it's very difficult. And luckily, someone came to the rescue. We can't thank you enough, Judy. Who am I forgetting, Michael?
Roger.
Roger Kubik and his son, Anthony. Stanley Corden. Larry Larson, Paul Rabelais.
Who built this?
Oh, Steve Vesey. This is an incredible front. It's a post and beam porch. It's very unusual. It's very beautiful. It was done. It was ecologically harvested. We really did this green thing as much as we could. There is a David Carbaugh. Is that you? Oh, so great to see you. This is our shelter consultant. Please come forward. This man did 2 years. David Carbaugh did 2 years of research before he built the shelter in Omaha. And now, David has been absolutely giving of his time and energy and his experience, and he advised us. Of course, we couldn't do anything he said because we didn't have near enough money. But we tried. We made an A list, and we stuck hard to that A list. And so I think a lot of the credit of this shelter being state-of-the-art goes to our friend David Carbaugh. Thank you so much for coming. This shelter needs only one thing more, and that is your love and your compassion and your commitment to keep this going in perpetuity. I invite you all. I unfortunately am leaving this town. Now I'll start crying. But I feel so happy to have done something that I know will benefit so many people, so many animals, and so many people that their lives go on to enrich. I love our mission statement because this isn't just about animals. Animals enrich the lives of people, and I can tell you as a Chicken Soup for the Soul author, I've read thousands and thousands of stories that the human-animal bond is something that is just beginning to come into its own as a major factor in the quality of life for our planet and our society. So I challenge you, I invite you, and I hope that all of you will make use of this beautiful building. Thank you very much.
Carol also has 2 new books coming out. I think it's Chicken Soup for the Cat Lover's Soul, Carol?
Yes, I'll do 2 new books.
And Chicken Soup for the Dog Lover's Soul.
Yes.
So we look forward to having them come out. I'd like to...
Can I just interrupt?
Yes.
I wanted to introduce one more board member, and that was Irene Archer. Irene, where are you? She's our dog adoption person and board member. Thanks, Irene.
We're moving towards the end of our program, but there are 2 very, very special people that I'm going to have speak now that are basically worth the whole trip. And it's a huge honor. The first speaker is a very dear old friend, Rick Swain. Rick Swain is a senior vice president with the Humane Society of the United States who traveled here today from Washington, D.C. Rick. Let me take a minute and tell you about Rick Swain, and then I'd like to tell you a story about Rick Swain. Rick joined the Humane Society of the United States, which we call HSUS, as Vice President of Investigative Services in 1996. Before joining HSUS, Rick retired as captain and as a commander of the Special Operations Division from the Montgomery County Police Force. He has 25 years of complex investigative and management experience in law enforcement. His investigative assignments range from homicide through undercover narcotics and criminal intelligence operations. He has a BS specializing in criminology from the University of Maryland. Rick is responsible for all investigations conducted by HSUS in support of various program areas, regional offices, and the Humane Society International programs. Rick's undercover investigation into the international trade of dog and cat fur has led to the enactment of a federal law banning the import of dog and cat fur in the United States. A comprehensive film documenting his outstanding work in animal protection received a gold medal at the Brussels Film Festival in 2001. So this is a person that is a huge protector of the animals and a very dear friend of ours. In 1997, when the incident at Noah's Ark occurred and the cry for help went out, Rick Swain answered the call. He came to Fairfield with a team of other HSUS investigators and stayed here for quite some time. They assisted law enforcement. They helped in many, many ways. They also helped talk about this link between animal cruelty and human violence and brought a lot of knowledge and a lot of wisdom to the situation. It was a huge honor for me to call Rick a few months ago and share with him how Noah's Ark has come forward in the last 7 years. And Rick told me, with all of the undercover work he does worldwide, that it's very rare that he's able to do something like this. Most of the time, the things that he does is behind the scenes and very challenging and very stressful. So to be here today for such a joyous moment, Rick, he promised me he would come. So will you please welcome our very dear friend, Rick Swain.
Thank you, David, and thank all of you. As David said, he stole my lines. This will be very brief. It's very unusual for my section in the HSUS to get the opportunity to see something come about in the end that's so good. We usually only see the ugly side of things and then we move on. So when David called, I was very grateful and flattered. It came at a time in an undercover investigation we're doing now internationally that was very tense and very stressful, and I said, you know, that would be perfect. I get a chance to go out and see something really, really special that's come from a very, very dark and ugly place. Carol stole some of my lines too. I was reading a book on the way out here, and it talked about treading lightly and doing the least harm possible. And I think what happened here at Noah's Ark and what David and the board members and the donors have been able to turn around embodies that spirit. The souls that are represented by the animals that were lost and the animals that are saved now and going to be saved in the future, I think it's very important to us as human beings. We don't always realize how important that is and how important that relationship is. But I think, particularly as I get older, I begin to realize even more how important it is. But Noah's Ark and everything that happened here and the way they've been able to turn around really embodies the essence of what's important and what isn't important. And I want to thank you again for the opportunity, David. Okay.
And our last speaker, who I would drive 1,000 miles any day to be with, is Tom Colvin. Tom, let me tell you about him, and then I'll tell you a little story about Tom. Tom, in his early career, was the executive director of the Black Hawk Humane Society, now called Cedar Bend. He was there for 19 years. He then moved to Des Moines in January of 1993 and became the shelter director of the Animal Rescue League of Iowa. In 1995, he was appointed as their executive director, a position he still holds. And the Animal Rescue League is the largest animal shelter in the state of Iowa and takes in over 11,000 animals a year. Tom has also been the president of the Iowa Federation of Humane Societies since 1981 and is on the Iowa State University External Stakeholders Advisory Group. In addition, Tom was a wildlife rehabilitator for many years and has served on the deer task force committees in Iowa. Tom is probably, if we think about it, the #1 animal rights, animal protection person in our state. He has tirelessly, for many, many years, helped the animals in so many unsung ways I can't even begin to tell you. In 1985, when Noah's Ark started in my home, I remember my first call to Tom. We were starting to rescue feral animals, and I was so honored to meet him. And then all through the years, his guidance, his counseling, his friendship, this is a man that really represents the ideal in the way we want to be, how we want to conduct ourselves, how we want to conduct ourselves with the animals. In the 1997 timeframe, Tom was an absolute invaluable friend and partner. And as things began to conclude from that event, and we realized the long battle we had ahead of ourselves in the legislative area, it was Tom who stepped forward with HSUS and with Noah's Ark and the long 2 to 3 year process of having Iowa's animal cruelty laws changed. He is a tireless servant for all of us, and it is an absolute huge honor, Tom, to have you be here today with your wife, Carol. Carol is also the president of the Animal Rescue League board and another incredible person in her own right for all that she does. They both drove down today. Tom, would you please join us and share a few words?
David, stay with me for just a minute, okay?
Okay.
All right. I don't want to embarrass David here, but I think there's a few things that just haven't gotten said so far today. And from that standpoint, when I met David so many years ago, one of the first things that David said to me is, I want a sanctuary for animals. And you have to figure that in the mid-'80s, sanctuary isn't probably a good description for Iowa's animal shelters. They were rather dark and they were rather cell-like, and they were not what you would necessarily call a sanctuary. So when David came to me, I said, that's exactly what we need. That's exactly what shelters should be. We should make every effort to turn them into sanctuaries. It's unfortunate that animals have to end up at animal shelters in the first place, but if they have to be there, let it be a sanctuary. So if you would just join me, this is a very, very special individual here, and I do not mean to embarrass him. He'd be the first one to tell you that this is about the animals and not about people. But in every area of our work, it takes a person with vision in order to drive home the focus on these animals. Would you all join me by standing and thanking David Sykes? I'll be brief as well. We're running a little bit over, so I'll be very brief as well. And I just want to touch on a little bit of what David was saying about the difference in the legislature. After the tragedy, there was a decided difference. We worked very, very hard, but it was also the focus of a lot of people. And as David said, this became, in essence, worldwide focus on the tragedy that happened here. And we certainly are at a day today that we're moving on. But it's important to note that that was a pivotal time for our legislature. And when the legislature realized that there were so many people like yourself that cared about animals to the extent that they wanted to truly get involved, as our representative friend here can tell us, there's so few things that people can get passionate about. And they found out that people were passionate about animals at the legislature. I can tell you one brief story, and that is that there was a radio DJ in the Des Moines area that always did active things for animals. But the situation that happened with Noah's Ark drove this person to the point that he wanted to make such a statement, and he wanted this felony animal abuse language so badly that he literally buried himself in cement in a box no larger than a coffin for 3 solid days, 72 hours. And in that little box, he had nothing, folks. Believe me, no bathroom or anything. For that 72 hours, he only had the ability to connect to email. And this individual, you have to have your forms of communication no matter where you're at. And he literally talked to people worldwide about the tragedy that happened at Fairfield and the necessity to have stronger laws in Iowa. So we can thank him. We can thank David, and we can thank all of the wonderful people like yourselves that have gotten together, created this sanctuary, are moving on from tragedy, moving on from tragedy and saying we want the best for all animals who it's our responsibility to love and to care for. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Rick and Ed. So as we bring our ceremony today to a conclusion, I just had a few things to share with you. At 12, basically just about now, the public tours for Noah's Ark will be starting, and they'll be starting a few minutes from the main door. And as you walk around, there'll be station guides to share with you the different elements of the shelter, the different aspects of what have been built here. There'll be cake and refreshments. There's some restrooms over here for those that need to know that. And there's email in the office. On behalf of the board of directors and all of the staff and volunteers, I would like to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for sharing with us today, and for our guests that have traveled so far to be with us. This is a moment in time that Noah's Ark from here forward will continue its work in the community to represent these high values that all of you have shared and brought out today. And I hope that you'll all spend the afternoon visiting and sharing with us, and we thank you again so much for coming. Yes, Michael. And Michael would like to just make a comment.
Just wanted to mention, if you are interested in any of the animals, that is our purpose here. We fix them up for you. All their shots are done. They're nice and plump and ready for someone to focus and love them, and they'll share their unending love with you. Irene, back there with the blue shirt in the back. Irene, can you wave? Irene Archer's head of our adoption program. And so maybe she'll be inside the shelter somewhere. Where are you, like in the middle room maybe? If people are interested, they come talk to you? Okay. And cats as well. Okay. So come see us in the middle lobby if you're interested in adopting any of our animals. Thanks.
So as we end our beautiful festivities, allow me to say that the building fund is within $30,000, $35,000 of being completed. Everything here paid for. So those of you that may still be willing to help us, understanding all tax deductions, all donations are tax deductible, we would be thrilled to have any additional support that you could share with us. There's also a wish list as you come into the shelter of smaller items that we still need that you might like to help out with. And we hope that you enjoy walking through the shelter, look at the artwork from all the children, and we hope to spend the afternoon with you. Thank you all again, and let's give all of us a round of applause for this special day. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Diane Bolte Silverman.
And I'm Carol Klein.
And we're at Noah's Ark Animal Foundation.
On the grand opening day.
Yes, it's been a wonderful day. Oh, we've had so many people here, and the speeches were good, and the feelings were wonderful, and our animals behaved.
They did.
Yeah.
And it was really fun because the great thing about the Noah's Ark shelter that we're going to share with you today is there's so many really special features that make it a very unique animal shelter. We're standing in the front yard, the front area of the shelter, and our lot is very long and narrow. We have about 150 feet wide by 350 feet deep. And we're right on Gear Avenue, and you're panning now, you'll see, in front of you, you'll see these 3 long mulch beds that we'll talk about in a minute. They are our very unique septic system, our wastewater treatment system, and they're called wetlands. And they're a managed wetlands, and because of the nature of our soil here, we weren't able to do a regular septic system, and we were very lucky to have a volunteer, a person who volunteered her skills.
Yes, Judy Krieg with
of
Earthview Environmental
of Iowa City, and she happens to be a state recognized expert, and she was the one that designed and had an engineer sign off on how
to build our wetland.
How to build our wetland. And we're still, we're raising money now to put in beautiful plants.
Right.
And you can go on our website soon and you'll see the kind of plants we're looking for.
She's going to send us pictures and names of the plants, and her suggestion to me was that people might have them on their property.
They could just donate them.
And just donate them, so we wouldn't need to spend money on plants that might already be out there, which I thought was a great idea.
It's a great idea. And plants, the plants are going to be actually what breaks down the bacteria and things and purifies the water so that it can be absorbed into the ground again and be pure groundwater.
And that's sort of the end point of the septic system, and up right by us are our septic tanks.
Tanks. One for human, one for animal waste.
Right.
And now you've seen, that's the dirty part of Noah's Ark.
And this way,
turn to the front of the building here behind us, you can see it's a very plain exterior. We actually built a building that is just a big barn. It is a frame, stick-built building. It's not a Morton building. It's not a metal building. And it has, you can see the landscaping we did, but one of the most beautiful features is the beam,
that porch.
The porch, the timber.
That's incredible.
The timber construction. It's a post and beam. It's a very old and ancient method of building that doesn't use nails. He used pegs.
Just these wonderful pegs, and those are solid pieces of wood. And what's nice about it also is those huge wood beams or posts are all recycled, aren't they?
Yes. Well, they're whole trees that were harvested ecologically up from Wisconsin. They're yellow pine.
Okay.
And that just becomes more beautiful with age. It's a 1,000-year-old craft that Steve Vesey, who does this locally, he had some of the pieces and was able to donate a lot of his the cost because he already had the material, so that we could afford to have such a beautiful entrance to our new shelter.
And I like those little cross pieces or whatever you call those diagonals.
It's a barn theme.
Oh, all right, the barn theme. I do like that a lot. And also in the front we have our trees, which are a really neat thing because each of those trees was donated in the memory of an animal.
Beloved pet.
Yes, someone's beloved pet, and friends or family donated money in that pet's name to put up some of our tree, or all of our trees.
Yes.
And
Except for this one tree
except for
behind
this one
us.
right here. Okay.
That tree was a gift from Trees America.
Oh, this is the Trees America
Trees
tree.
America tree.
Okay.
With help of Trees America, they paid for half of it, and this is a beautiful 12-foot Bradford pear that will have beautiful white showy flowers.
Oh, that'll be lovely in
and
the
it's a very
spring.
nice tree, and we hope
Right.
it will give us years of shade and beauty.
Right. And then if you see the other trees, the bottom of the tree, that little rock at the bottom of each tree is the name of the animal that the tree was planted in memory of.
The animals are not buried there.
No, it's just
This was
in
my
memory.
idea, and maybe it wasn't such a good idea.
It was a great idea.
Except that the people think that there are animals buried there.
Oh, they do. No.
It's just a
I know mine
beautiful
aren't.
rock. It's a rock that has the name of the animal that the tree was bought in memory of.
Right.
So now we're standing in front of our outdoor kennels. The building is divided into 3 zones. The building's divided into 3 zones. The center zone, where you enter the lobby, is people, and it has a lobby and a community room. And then we're going to go in a moment. But the 2 sides, there's a cat wing and a dog wing.
Right.
The dog area is here on the east side of the building, and it has outdoor kennels adjoining. Our outdoor kennels are on concrete for disinfectability.
Right.
And they go all the way back to the end of the building, and then we're going to have a grass yard fenced in. When the grass has established itself to our satisfaction, we're going to fence in. We already have money budgeted, set aside
Right.
for a beautiful, and you can bring, dogs will be able to,
Run
shelter
and
dogs
play.
will be able to run
Right.
and play
Just
off
run
leash.
and play.
Off
Right.
leash.
So it's we have large runs anyway, but this one's going to be really big, and so they
Really
can
big.
really get out there and stretch their legs and have fun with their friends. So this is the kennel area.
And we can enter that in a moment.
Right.
So we're standing in the outdoor kennel area, and in front of us there are 2 isolation kennels for dogs that come in where we don't know exactly where they've been, and we keep them in isolation for 10 days to avoid any disease transmission.
Right.
And then our regular Noah's Ark dogs spend their days. We have the indoor kennels for night and inclement weather, but we think dogs are happiest when they can have fresh air, sunshine, and exercise. These are our 2 newest dogs, and they seem very interested
Yes.
in the camera.
A little
That's Simba
nervous.
and Sarge,
Yes.
and they were stray dogs that need homes. They'll be with us a few days to get neutered and spayed. They'll get all of their shots. They'll get heartworm tested. They'll have flea
treatment,
preventative put on, and heartworm medicine, and that is what we do for each of the dogs. And then they're fed a really high quality diet. We feed them a good high quality dog food. And this is Bailey.
She's going to a new home.
Bailey's getting adopted. Adoption is pending.
Right.
And with her is
Edith Ann. I always want to call her Emily, but
I
she's
know,
Edith
it's Edith
Ann.
Ann, and
She's delightful. She's a little companion, quite a little companion. And it's kind of hard to see the structures because of all the wire, but right in front of us are actually hog panels. They're and we've hooped them in the kennels, and then we have shade fabric that's made specifically to cut out UV rays or whatever. And then we will be putting the fabric over these panels as soon as we can next week. And so that will be outside shade for the dogs in each of the kennels. And we had some volunteers help us put that up. Tim Renwick
we
did
have a
that.
lot of volunteers.
Right.
You'll see we have mesh that acts as shade.
Right.
And also the green mesh between the kennels helps us not to have as much fence fighting.
Right.
It keeps the dogs separate.
That does reduce fence fighting, yes. And
We'll walk around here.
we'll walk down here. And some of these dogs are a little excited because they want attention.
They do.
They've had a lot of attention today, though.
See some of these new dogs. Some of the new dogs get the old dogs all excited because they're new smells, and I don't think these dogs are neutered or spayed.
Right, so that's a little different, yeah.
So we're walking down the walkway. This walkway has pipes underneath it that will de-ice it in the winter, and those pipes, the water is heated by solar panels in the back of the kennels, which we'll show you.
This will be wonderful for anyone who's walking the dogs,
Yes,
for
it'll
our
make it
staff, so
easier.
they don't have to shovel, and make it a lot easier to be working out here. And this is one of our larger kennels.
Yes, and you can see we have insulated dog houses that were built by a local man in Libertyville. They're insulated. They're
Very sturdy.
very high quality. Of course, the dogs do give them a little bit of a run for their money there. They get a little wear.
Yes, they do, but that's dogs.
That's dogs
So,
for you.
yes.
And we have them matching our barn red exterior.
Right.
But we're in one of the larger kennels, and what we did was, you see there's gates. And these gates can open to make one big run, or we can have two smaller runs.
Right. And that just depends on if we have dogs who get along together or who don't get along together.
Because dogs tend to do well in big groups and play groups. They're happier, they have more interest, and if we can do that, we try to do that.
Right.
We're looking to the south now, and we have 3 trees. Some of our memorial trees are planted out in the back here. I think my dog's tree is right here. There's Hannah.
And there's Bailey's.
And there's Bailey.
That's
Both
my
of our
dog's
dogs
tree.
have trees here. And these are
Yes.
maple trees that will eventually give us some shade for
Right.
these animals, though the shade structures we've built should do that in the meantime. This whole big grass yard in back will be fenced in, and that will be a place for dogs to play.
I think it'll be wonderful.
Yes,
They'll
and this
have
is
some
the-
trees out here, they'll have the grass, and then they can come in here and have the concrete.
We do have security cameras out here. You can see there's one up on the building. There's a lot of hardware up there.
I see that.
But there's
yes.
a little camera up next to the top window where the wireless thing is. And so we can access visually the dogs at all times wherever they are, and the cats.
Right.
We can see what's going on. We wanted never to have any repeats of what happened in Noah's Ark 7 years ago.
Right.
So we put in a very sophisticated camera system that it would be expensive, except that the internet has made things so much more affordable.
Right.
So the wireless cameras, and the other thing we have, which is really important, is we have an on-premises caretaker. And we're going to show you, his apartment is in the building on the 2nd floor, and he's there at night for night security.
Yeah. I thought that was a great idea to have him living here, to have someone living here.
The kennels were also, the fences are also, have the upper barb. It's not barbed wire, but it's barbless arms, so the animals cannot climb out.
That's important because we do have some dogs that are great, absolutely wonderful climbers. It's not very helpful for us, but we've had no problems with any dogs here.
Callie.
Oh, Callie. Yes, we did have one escape artist.
One dog that could go through this, but
Right.
no other dogs have escaped, which is pretty good.
Yes, I think that's very good.
Pretty good.
And Callie got a home, so she's she's taken care of. In the back we have the solar. Or would we
should
like to go
through the
inside,
solar
or
first? Let's go inside.
you want to go
We'll
inside?
make our way through.
Okay.
Hi, so we're inside the building now.
Yes.
This is the east wing, not the west wing. And the east wing houses all of our indoor kennels. And these kennels are very special. They have epoxy floors for ease of cleaning. They have trough drains that are covered in the back of each kennel. Each dog has its own bed that is disinfectable, a plastic bed with a blanket, which we got from all of our wonderful
donors
who gave us
volunteers, yeah.
Blankets and towels. The dogs have stainless steel buckets that can be disinfected. And in this room, there is 12 to 15 air changes an hour, which really helps with odor and disease control. All the dogs are very quiet when they come in. They get
love it.
noisy when another dog comes in, but they're very happy in here. They like coming in here. They are not stressed. And we hope this will make them more adoptable.
Right. It's just they go into their bed and they curl up and they're happy. There's a couple other things about these kennels. The floors.
The floors are epoxied and they're slant towards the trough drain.
Right.
They also have pressure wash stations so that you can clean these more easily and more effectively. The ceiling is a drop ceiling, whereas the actual roof line is sloped. And what we did was we put a drop ceiling in to trap noise behind the ceiling tiles. The sound tiles themselves are sound absorbent. And then there's roof insulation. Those are the 3 ways. And there's one way more that we put actual extra insulating, acoustic, impairing fabrics and structures behind the ceiling to help make it less noisy. When you make a place easy to clean, it makes hard surfaces that can actually make it deafening to be in here. In other shelters we went to, people had to wear ear protection.
Can you imagine those poor dogs in there?
It's horrible.
Right.
So we really endeavored, though we did the best we could. It still gets noisy in here, but it's not ear damaging.
Right. And we have the radio on for the dogs, and
we have an
very
argument.
calm.
I think that they like classical, but everybody else thinks they like
I think
country western.
Angie and Bobby, I think they like the country western.
Or rock and
right.
roll.
Right.
Right now we have one of our kennel staff, our kennel manager, is putting away dogs for the evening.
And those 3 dogs are in our intake area, and that's for dogs that come in, and we need to do a few medical things or just hold them for a few days.
Bandit.
And this is Zoe. They each have their kennel number and name on each kennel, so everybody knows who they are.
Zoe.
And this is wonderful Buster.
Buster's one of our long-term guys. He's like, hey, give me a chance.
Yes.
I'm a cute boy.
And actually, he's very nice in the car. He's very nice in the house. He's been at my house, and these 2 little girls are
They
little
love each other. You
friends.
notice they only have one bed. They like to sleep together.
Right.
You find them. There they go. Come on, jump in with Bonnie.
Bonnie and Edith Ann, and I think Edith Ann is kind of the protector. Look at her. She's always
dog.
Yes, she's a wonderful dog.
She has a very sweet nature. And
Yes.
this is Nova. Nova's calmed down quite a bit since she's come to Noah's Ark.
Right. She was kind of a wild child, and
Now she's very sweet.
yes. And
These are 2 brothers.
aren't they cute? Pedro and Pepe.
And I don't know why we named Scottish Border Collies Mexican names, but we did.
But
Pedro
there they
and
are.
Pepe. They're in our double kennel. This is our
Yes.
extra large kennel.
And they each get their own bed because they don't like to share. But
Oh, there's
on this little
Jamie.
Jamie, yes.
She's a little scared.
Yes, she is.
James, it's okay, love.
She doesn't know what that camera is.
What is that camera? She came in
Right.
with her sister who got adopted.
Right.
This
Oh.
is Crown. Hi, Crown.
She said, forget this.
I don't know about this camera.
Yeah.
Forget it. She's Greta Garbo. Leave
Yes.
me alone.
And Bo. And he's a delightful
says-
little
Bo
dog.
says, hey, I got ears. Look
Yes.
at those ears.
I have big ears and long fur and a fuzzy tail.
We have whiteboards. We have whiteboards in our kennels that help volunteers know about each dog and what their picture's like. And we have a big dog's clock up on the wall there that tells us what time it is. And it's time for you to come on down and visit Noah's Ark.
Oh, that was
Sorry.
good. And then we have little cards about walking alone, if a dog needs to be walked alone, or if they need to go outside for their little bathroom walks. Some dogs prefer that to going in their pens, which we're very happy about. And then we have pictures, so everybody knows what dog, what the name and the dog, look like, because sometimes new people don't.
Right.
And so that's just helpful for all of our volunteers. And then, as you can see, some of the dogs have adoptions pending, which is always a happy thing for us. Little
And tell us
Jamie.
about them. See that Crown that was growling
Right.
at the camera? She's afraid of children and
Children.
strangers. And what
Right.
could be stranger than a guy holding a camera?
Right.
Strange.
She's great with
Oh,
people
she's
she
wonderful.
knows, yeah, but she's
She's got
just a little.
beautiful nature.
Right, she does. But it's just new things scare her a little bit.
So this west wing has a double wall. You can't see on camera, but the wall that separates the dog kennels from the rest of the building is actually 2 walls that sandwich insulation.
Right.
So when the dogs are barking in here, which they do at times when it's feeding time or when it's time to go out for walks, you can't hear it in the community room.
Right.
You can hear it in the lobby because this door is not, it's the weakest part of the sound wall.
Right.
But it was specially designed and built so that the adopter walking in would not be met with noise, odor, or
Right.
anything unpleasant, and would find this a happy and nice place to be.
Right. And so now we're going to go into one of our cat adoption suites. And these 2 suites are wonderful little homes for our cats. Each of them were donated by families. And this one is the Susan Flora Cat Adoption Suite. And then the kitten suite is the June Chaffee Cat Adoption Suite. And right now the kitties are all out running around and having a good time. And so let's walk inside and see what they look like. I guess one of our cats is having his dinner, and one is in her cage, and then we have a few just hanging out. And the 2 black ones are over They love looking out the windows, and so these are brand new ledges in this room. They were put up last night, actually.
Have the cats gone up on these walkways with the adult cats?
I saw Moo. This little black and white one was up there, but I think somebody actually put him. This is Moo, yes. And someone actually put him up there, I think. I don't think they figured out how to get up here themselves, but there are sisal or some type of polypropylene for easy cleaning, I think. Like a cat scratching post, and the cats can actually climb up there and then get up on these ledges, which cats love to do. And so they have all this wonderful vertical and horizontal space to be in.
Big Brother's watching.
Oh yeah, there's another camera up there, and then on our interior window we have cat ledges too. Now there'll be something under there probably eventually so the cats can jump up there, because that's too high for cats to jump up. But then they have their individual cages, and they will go in the cages at night and be safe at nighttime. And as you can see, that's Zuzu and Kenny. I think are they? No, I think they're from two different litters. There was the Kenny, Kendra, Kelsey litter, and the Zuzu, whatever, Zelda litter. Yeah, we named the litters. It's Catbox. Why, thank you, Moo. Please. He's just joking. And this, I think, is such a neat feature. These are our cat doors.
They can go out onto our enclosed porches.
Right. They go in the little cat door at the bottom, then they climb up here and go out the hole here, and that helps keep the heat going, being proper. However you want to say that,
sometimes
functioning properly,
when you have
right.
cat doors, you can have a problem with disrupting your heating and air conditioning.
Right.
So we wanted to, especially since it's a west wall and you get a lot of strong winds here in the winter,
Right.
we didn't want, and it's also very hot in the summer, we didn't want the air conditioning and heating and cooling money to just go right out the wall. So we
pretty
baffled
much.
the airlock.
Right. And then we have, each cat room has a porch, and the cats go in and out the airlock doors, but the people need to go out the people door. And if you see, look at this. This is their cat door, and it's shut now because it's getting late and they are going to go to sleep. They're going to be put away for the night soon. But there's little steps here so that they can get in and out of their door easily. And then these trees are wonderful.
The trees were actually done as supports for the roof, and we decided instead of doing just a boring old beam, we found trees, stripped the barks, and shellacked and varnished them so that they could be more impervious to odor and disease. And they are climbing areas. They're going to be shelves out here for cats to sun on and sleep on. And we're trying to make this a great cat environment. We're planning to put some kind of bird feeding station so that the cats can watch the birds over here. This is our west border, and you can see some more memorial trees with more names. We have Duke and Birdie. Birdie was a cat.
Right. And here's one of the bird feeding posts, but we just haven't gotten the bird feeders up yet.
Right, so there'll be some interest and entertainment for shelter cats to improve their quality of life.
Right.
We really want the quality of life for the animals here to be excellent, because they have longer stays than some other shelters. They're here until we find them a home. There's no killing them once they're here.
Right.
This is our kitten nursery.
And as you can see, we have a little kitten with an interested family playing. We wanted to make sure that people in our community room could just watch the kittens and the cats, and so we had interior windows put into these rooms. And this shelf is new, and so now the cats can come right up to the shelf and play with the people on the other side. And as you can see, we have a lot of little kitties in here that are having a great time jumping around, playing on the furniture. They just had their dinner, and so
they're full of beans.
They're full of beans, and their plates are everywhere, and they love this little house right here. I've come in here when there've been half of them, 4 or 5 kittens will be all in a little pile in there. They think it's a lot of fun, and they're just having a good time, as kittens always do.
Yeah, kittens just want to have fun.
They do. We have a litter of 4 gray ones, and then we have 1 single tabby kitten that was found on 5th Street.
That one there?
That little tiny one, and she's been here about a week, 2 weeks now. So she was way smaller than that when she was found in the middle of the street. We took her in, and then, whoops, and then we have another litter of kittens. And we have a couple of mothers with very small litters, or very young litters.
Yeah, we just had one born a few days ago.
Right, on Wednesday. And then we have litters without moms, and they are being hand-fed by our volunteers.
Star volunteers.
Right, and our cat person. They're taking turns feeding those kitties because it takes so much time to feed them and clean them. This one is really showing off, and I'm not sure which one it is. The gray ones kind of all look alike, but they have definite.
Furry one.
There's that little black furry one too, and I don't know where he is. Oh, he's sound asleep with one of the gray ones. So he's another.
I think they like better than playing and sleeping. Well,
Yes,
eating,
yes.
eating and sleeping.
Right, and being cuddled. This little guy is just sleeping all by himself up there. And look at this one.
Looking at you, Richard.
Richard, he's looking at you. He says, "Oh, what is that camera?" Oh no, the little gray one wants to join him.
Well, he's rocking the rocking.
Yeah, yeah. This is what goes on in the kitten rooms all day long.
One of the things we want to have is a cam that will be on the camera that you can check into our website, and you can view kittens and dogs from on the website. We'll call it Kitty Cam and Doggy Cam.
And I've heard that that's a very good way to get adoptions.
It is a great way to get adoptions.
Right, and you can see the potential kittens or dogs or adults also interacting.
Look, they're going up the pole.
Oh, they figured out how to use that. This is brand new.
They're so smart.
Yeah, they are. Well, that's what kittens do. They explore.
And they're already litter trained.
Yes, they are already litter trained. Well, now we think we'll check out the sink, see if there's anything in there that's of interest.
Here I come. I'm coming.
Oh, oops, I'm walking the tightrope.
Tell us when you're ready. So we're in the community room at the Noah's Ark Animal Foundation shelter, and this room is going to be a multi-purpose room. It is floored with epoxy concrete so that we can have as a dog socialization room.
Right.
Dogs can come in here and work with volunteers. We have some volunteers sitting, looking at pictures they took of the adorable dogs and cats at Noah's Ark. We have a seating area where potential adopters can meet and greet their potential pet.
Which is wonderful, because when you go in the kennels, it's so noisy,
It's
and the
noisy.
dogs aren't themselves because they're, interested in the other dogs and stuff. So if you bring them in here, then they'll relate to you.
Yeah, most of the shelters
Right.
have a meet and greet area, and this happens
Right.
to be ours.
Right.
We plan to have obedience classes here for dogs. There's an atrium that I don't know if you can see. We have skylights that make this room much lighter than it would be otherwise, and it eliminates some of the need for electric lighting.
Right.
Windows go through in all directions. Light comes through this building from north to south, east to west, and top to bottom.
And we did that on purpose because so many shelters are dark. People don't want to be there. It's depressing for the animals. And in this shelter, people can't believe how bright and airy and light it
pleasant.
is, and it's so pleasant.
You'll see the beginnings here of our folk art mural that local artist Emily Fotis has donated her service to paint for us. She does what's called fractal art, which you'll see is the flowers in the middle and the vines, and then the folk art cats. The cats are done, and she's going to put birds on the south wall. It's
Right.
blank right now, and she's got the dog pictures penciled in.
And they will be brightly colored.
They will be brightly
also.
colored, just as the cats are.
Right.
And this atrium gives a feeling of space and light and makes the shelter a lot more pleasant.
Right. And as you can see, right now we have the kids' Noah's Ark art show up, and we had over 200 entries, we think. And a lot of them are here, and then a lot of them were in the Gallery 51 space
For the art walk
for the
last
art
night.
walk
Yeah,
last
today
night.
is Saturday, June 5th, and it was our grand opening.
Right.
There's a stairway to the side here. We do have a second floor to the shelter. And upstairs is where our caretaker flat is, the caretaker apartment, where our lovely and talented and very, very nice man lives,
Right.
who takes care of our shelter.
Right.
at night when we're not here. And also we have a storeroom upstairs that will be, it's not finished at this point. It also houses our heating and ventilation, air conditioning equipment.
And it's so nice to have all of that equipment up there because it doesn't take space down here.
Yes.
And when we were first thinking about the shelter, it was going to be down here, but it was going to take away space from the animals.
Right.
And so upstairs, it doesn't do that.
Right, and if you see, everything opens off of this room. We're walking now towards the grooming room and hospital room. We do have a vet tech on staff. And this is where she hangs out a lot.
Yeah.
We're going to come in here. This room is the only room that doesn't have windows. And you have to have some room without windows.
Right.
And this room is where we have a scale and where we can get accurate readings for giving accurate medication. You need to have weights.
Especially for the dogs, right.
We have a bath grooming station over there where we have a stainless steel bathtub and fitted with a hose that you can work with one hand. We have stainless steel cages in the hospital room where cats and dogs can both be housed if they're ill, and they can be disinfected because they're stainless steel.
Right.
In the middle of the room is our exam grooming table. And this room also has a separate closet that has most of the heating water system. You'll see there's a power wash machine on the floor and beautiful, my husband did this, he thinks this is gorgeous, these pipings of the red, the hot, and the cold, and it shows how the hot water and cold water go to all the different places in the building.
So it's wonderful. It's very clear
We do
to
have
people.
in-floor heating, which is powered by the solar heating collectors, the solar water collectors, and that's makes the animals more comfortable and saves on our heating bill. We're walking now south into the...
See how quiet the dogs are. They like being in their kennels at night when all the activity of the day is over, and
But
it's
if you
just like
walk
being their
through,
home. Then
they'll start barking.
right, because they'll want attention. But you know, when people aren't there, they're just very content to be in their beds and in their little areas.
This is where we have our cat hospital.
And we just, at the moment, we just have one mother cat. She's down on the floor. There is a cage there, but sometimes she likes to lay on the floor on a little bed. And she has 5 beautiful little kittens. We also have an area in here for feral cats. And okay, I will open the door, and here's Guinevere and her wonderful, wonderful little kittens. They're about 5 weeks old.
See them in the back there.
Mm-hmm. And
They're crashed out.
They're crashed. They had a very busy day, so they're sleeping now. And then if this cage here looks a little different, that's for feral cats. And when we trap a feral or a wild cat and we get it spayed or neutered, it's really nice to have a cage like this so we can block one side off where the cat is and do things like put food in, change the litter box.
Without scaring them half to death.
Well, scaring them or having them try to scratch you, too.
Specially designed feral cat
Right, they're
recovery
specially
cages.
designed for the cats.
The specialty about this room is that it vents, the air in here is vented into the dog system. So cats with contagious diseases to other cats can be put in here and they won't endanger any other cats because dogs and cats don't share the same diseases.
Right, and a lot of cats, I think airborne diseases are more common with cats than dogs.
Absolutely.
So
We're
we do
walking
that.
now into the guts of the building here.
The
This is
kitchen.
This is the central area where the staff feeds, washes. We have washer dryer provided, not free of course, but the local Dexter company made these, and they're absolutely the highest, top of the line quality thing that makes it so important for a shelter to have an ability to wash blankets and towels in an energy efficient way because you do go through so many of them.
Right, and it's made life a lot easier for our staff.
We can't thank Dexter enough for making these things. They're
Right.
they're fabulous.
Right. And then we just have a nice window looking out over the dog kennels and eventually what will be the dog exercise area.
The dishwasher, is
dishwasher,
important
yeah.
because it has a sanitary rinse cycle. And that's really important for us because we can sanitize dog dishes and cat dishes, water and food. And we didn't have that before. And you had to use chemical means, and it's much more efficient to do it with hot water.
Safer, too, isn't it?
Yes.
And then I think the last thing is just our solar panels. We have
Lobby.
Pardon?
We haven't done the lobby, but
Oh, the
next to last
lobby.
thing.
Oh, the next to last thing. I forgot about the lobby.
The solar shed that we're going to look at in a second. We're walking out the kitchen door. This shed was built basically as a way to house the collectors. And you'll walk around, you'll see we have 10 solar collectors facing south. They're angled for maximum exposure to the sun in 2 different seasons. We actually did this with 2 different angles, which is a little bit unusual, but we needed more solar power in the winter, so when we are heating.
So which is the winter?
The winter angle is the steeper.
Okay, the slanted one. Oh,
Yeah.
this one. Then.
Yeah, when the sun is...
Okay.
No, it's that one. I can't remember, sorry.
Oh, okay.
One of them. The point is that in the summer, both of them get it, but in the winter, only one will... No, the other way around. In the summer, one of them gets it more, and in the winter, both of them get it.
Right. But it's wonderful because our heat for the hot water is...
Hot water.
this
It is,
way.
yes. And we'll see this winter how much it puts a dent into our heating bills, and our hot water heating especially.
So this...
We're standing in the lobby.
And we just put this together, so we're so excited because it looks really nice. And these are our nose pictures, or prints, dog noses and cat
And
noses,
the sign says, face it, the best things in life are furry.
which we think so. And we seem to be collecting Noah's Ark things. In the window we have little Noah's Ark plaque, and I think we're going to be getting that as time goes by, more and more things like that. But this is nice and bright too because of the windows, and some people donated some plants, which are wonderful.
Beautiful.
And this great banner, Friendly Felines, and that shows that that's our cat area. And right next to it is the room for the Susan B. Flora Cat Adoption Suite.
Our administrative office is in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we'll have our...
We have a computer there, and just do some paperwork there.
It's our security cameras are in there too.
Right. And then around this corner, we have another wonderful donated print by some friends. And then we have some plaques, some very special plaques for very special people on this wall. People who've, I don't know, just gone way above and beyond for the shelter, right. And so we wanted to recognize them. And then...
Unusual idea to make a light box for our donor board. And if you look here, you'll see it's all of our wonderful donors are divided into 3 categories: corporate sponsors and foundation partners, distinguished donors who donated $1,000 or more, and founding sponsors who donated $500 or more. And we have a long list of those people, and they're honored in this unique and beautiful way.
I know. Most people who have come in here said they've never seen anything like that, and I hadn't either, and so I think it's just wonderful.
We have a great piece by Elaine Arnold, who used to live here, and it's a fabulous cat with, she's wearing a cape, and she has little mice riding all around on her. It's a very whimsical piece.
Yes, I love it. And then our dog banner, Faithful Companion, and that shows that we are going into the dog area, right. And of course another piece of our Noah's Ark art.
We have just our entry area, mirror and console with some Noah's Ark memorabilia. We're walking out now. Because we have a north entrance, we needed to have an airlock to protect us from the north wind, which sweeps through very intensely. And also, in case animals were to escape, they have 2 places they'd have to get outside. So it's important most shelters have airlocks. And in this airlock, we decided to commemorate the woman who really made this all possible. This building is named the Catherine V. Glan Building. And here you'll see a portrait painted by one of our board members, Karen Jost, of Miss Kitty as a young woman. Catherine Glan is known affectionately as Miss Kitty. And she's wearing this paint it was done from a picture that was taken, a portrait of Miss Kitty that was taken in the late to middle 30s.
Oh, okay.
When she was a young woman. And Miss Kitty did pass away last year, but we are so grateful to her and for her gifts, and we're so happy to have shared with you all the unique and special features of this building made possible by this very generous woman.